Hey everybody, welcome to episode 15 of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast, coming to you from the thin air here in Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are going to talk about some board games.
There's like, what, 30% less oxygen here than everywhere else?
I think so.
I don't know.
Literally everywhere else.
Literally
Everywhere else. 33% less here than on Everest. People don't realize that.
I know the golf balls go 10% farther in the air. That's about it.
Huh.
It's easier to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess because you love Broncos, I'm sure you know that statistic from that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Two, I believe, of the three, like it's a three-way tie for longest field goal. Two of them were here in Mile High.
Where was the other one?
Fucking like Miami.
I feel like that might not hold up then.
That dude was just a beast. That was Janikowski.
All he was a giant leg.
Still is. He's still kicking field goals.
Oh, wow.
He could probably be a kicker for a while.
Yeah. The all-time leading scorer for the Detroit Lions is a field goal kicker.
I'm not surprised.
Greg Hansen.
There you go.
Anyway, that's not board games.
No,
that's
it's not.
That's a different kind of game. Equally enjoyable for me. Well, not this Sunday, but we'll move on.
I saw those Facebook comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was not thrilled with the Broncos this week.
Profanities. Just laden with
I
profanity.
kept the profanity down low this time. It was not nearly as sweary as it has been in the past.
I'm
That
sure
is
in
very
person it was different.
Oh, no. There was nobody really here, so I just got real sullen.
He did. I was here, so I just see him, just sad panda. Just, just texting.
David and Bob were coming over at 5:30, which would have been about the end of the game to play
Pandemic Legacy.
And I texted them at like 2 minutes into the third quarter. I was like, nope, it's over. It's done. Wrap it up.
Show up.
So,
I'm done with this.
but aside from that, it's been a really good weekend. Played a lot of games. Got to hang out a bunch.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly tired.
I've been off work since Wednesday night, and I played 10 board games.
10 different board games?
No.
Okay.
I played 10 games.
Okay.
Oh, I think I played more than that, but I definitely played like 2 games of Escape. I mean, that's
That
20 minutes.
that doesn't even count.
That barely
No.
counts. I played like 3 games of Coup.
No, it
Again, it
doesn't
takes like
count.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
11. I played 11 games. Some the same one
In 4 days.
in 4 days.
It's a solid amount of gaming.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere right around that number. I'm not going to total mine up because I don't have mine written down.
I wrote yours down too.
Oh.
If you added coup, you were at like 13 or 14.
Hell yeah.
I'm at an amount too. I wasn't paying attention.
So we played on Wednesday. All 3 of us. We pretty much all 3 of us. We played 2 games together, which is a little bit unusual for game night. We don't always end up playing the same games.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But
Game night was a thing.
It was.
There was a lot of new people.
there were a lot of new people. We've been having a lot of new people recently. I like seeing it, getting different people out and involved and stuff. The only thing is, like, when you see like 5 new people each week and the numbers are staying roughly the same, it means they're not coming back, and that's a problem. So.
Yeah.
Not everyone is as free as us.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
the numbers have been going up, slowly but steadily. They're about to boom. It's about winter, and winter we always see a huge surge.
So let's go to Strange.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. This will probably be the last time we go to Strange.
Yeah. Weather's supposed to be good on Wednesday, right?
This week. Yeah,
So-
weather's supposed to be real
It
nice.
should be fine.
We might go one more month. Sometimes we can do November,
We'll see.
but I'm going to try and not go there in December and January and February.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
March and April, all the real snowy months. But we played, though, the networks.
We did.
And then we got to try a new game.
Quadropolis.
That was a lot of fun. I liked Quadropolis.
Yes, it's
Prompted a lot of swearing.
from you. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So always tell it's a good game if I do something and there's Adrian's, God damn it.
Fuck you, Zach.
Yep.
SOB. But no, I liked it overall. I think it's kind of the way you select the tiles in the center with
The expert
little arrow
version is the
points.
way to play with that.
Yes. If you just play the expert version. It's not that
It's not that much
different.
harder, but it makes it a lot better.
Yep. But I really enjoyed that. Jeff didn't do super hot.
Yeah. No.
No, he did not.
I also had a lot of beer in me at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all 4 of us were
Yeah.
brand new to the game.
Yes.
No one had played before.
No.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And considering that it went really smooth, which I think is a testament to that game. Like,
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
it's certainly not a hard game to pick up.
Yeah, I think we had maybe 2 or 3 times we're like, oh, what does it mean for this specific instance? But otherwise, as soon as we saw the rules, we're just, I get it.
Yeah, the iconography makes a lot of sense.
But there's definitely strategy there. And playing it again, I can definitely be like, oh, okay, I want to focus on other things, or I want to try out this sort of strategy.
Yeah. I'm curious, both times I've played, because I played again later in the weekend, both times I played, I kind of employed the same general strategy of getting a line of harbors,
And
intermixing a couple
skyscrapers.
factories, and then surrounding them with skyscrapers. And I got roughly the same points both times. Those seem to me to be some of the more powerful points per tile setups you can get going. But I'm curious, obviously, if you're fourth person to choose and all those skyscrapers and shipyards are getting snatched up, you're going to need to do something else. I'm curious if you went all in on some of the other ones, how well they
I
play.
saw a couple of strategies online because they're like, what's the most amount of points you can get? I saw one that I think you could technically get 120 if everything went perfectly.
Holy shit.
But parts, there are definitely a lot of different ways you can score points in that game.
Yeah.
A lot of them didn't use skyscrapers at all. Some went heavy in. Some had a lot of parks and shopping malls and stuff like that. So there's definitely, it's not one of those games, it doesn't seem like, at least, where it's there's this strategy and then that one. If you want to win, do one of those two.
Yeah.
So
It makes me feel better if 120 really is kind of the rough high end of the score range. I got 81 my second playthrough, so that makes me feel pretty good about that.
2/3. That's what I'm hearing.
I got 44 points,
Again, 81 makes me feel pretty good.
57 on my second playthrough.
I got 60. I got 67 on the first one where we all played, which was the winning score.
This also started my long streak of losing every single game that I played until Sunday.
Pandemic. Yes.
Until finally you played a cooperative game.
Yes.
And even then you lost the first one, didn't you?
No, we
you won your first?
I think it was a win-win, win-loss, win-win.
Okay. Or something like that.
Something like that.
something
Yeah.
like that.
We also got to play on Friday. We pretty much all played together all weekend, too,
Yes, we
which
did.
is just a little bit unusual. But
Because we hate each other.
I'm
know.
tired of you people.
seriously. But we got our copy on Friday of Terraforming Mars.
We did.
I got my copy. None of you may have it.
Jeff got his copy of
did.
Terraforming Mars. I just want to vaguely pretend like it's ours because I regret not getting a copy.
I'm going to play it with any less of you people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got 2 plays of that
Oh,
in,
God.
and we like it.
Oh, God.
Okay. You didn't like it the whole time.
No, I did not.
That first time you played, you were just all... You were. It was like we were watching the Broncos.
Yes. Yes, that is true.
Terraforming Mars. You are terraforming Mars,
Shocking.
and you are using resources to place greenery and water and cities on Mars.
That is correct.
Yes.
And it has a card playing system, and you can have variable powers, and there can be... So we played with the drafting element, which I think is essential.
Yep.
Yes, on our second playthrough, we
Yes.
played the drafting. Definitely essential.
After our first playthrough, I was like, I can see this is an interesting game. I wasn't exactly sure if it lived up to the hype or not.
Yes.
I know you did not think
No,
it did.
I didn't at all.
And Jeff, I don't remember how you felt about it.
I have not really read up on the hype.
Yeah.
I've sort of stayed away from it, and
Yeah.
I still really liked it.
Oh, yes. I just felt that I was like, it felt a bit too random with the cards that
Yeah.
you either got
Oh, yeah.
good cards or you didn't. Once we played the second time with drafting, holy shit. So
Night and day.
Night and Day is an
Yeah.
amazing game with drafting and with the non-beginner corporations.
Yes, so that
With
you
the-
actually have something when you start. You're like, this is what I'm good at. This is what I should focus on. And it really gives you just that little bit of guidance going in to where you're not daunted by like, oh, I've got 10 cards and I could, what should I do?
Yes. But I did like that, even though, because we had one new player and we had them play the beginner.
They were right there in the final score.
They were right there in there.
Yeah.
Because they get 10 cards for free and we had to fucking buy ours.
Yeah.
That sucked because they're like, he started with 42 money in the beginning and we are like, oh, after we have these 6 cards, I have 12 money?
Yeah, you do feel the money pinch a little bit more when you play that way. But I don't know, like my one that I chose, I started with like 30 money and then like 20 little iron tokens, which count as 2 money each for certain cards. So I didn't feel it that bad because I got lucky in my initial draw. I had a bunch of those, so I bought a bunch of those cards and didn't even spend money on my first few builds, which was nice.
Yeah, I mean, mine was very city focused, so I just built cities and I got money that way.
Mine was very space focused, and I couldn't get any space cards.
Zach did a great job of spite drafting. Poor Jeff. And by extension, spite drafting me because I was 2 down from Jeff.
Only twice did I specifically do it, and that's because I gave you one card. I had to give you a card that was like, that's a great card. I can't let him get, because it required 1 Jovian tag, which is just the Jupiter symbol on it. I'm not going to give him any cards that have Jupiter on them until I had to.
Yep. And I don't think I even got one until I actually drew it in my starting draft.
Yes, that is true.
Which was like the second to last turn.
All I know is that when we talked about Scythe last week, and you were talking about like the thirst to play that game.
Yeah. Oh, I've got it.
I am parched with
Martian dust.
Yes. Yes. Perfect.
So
get that Dust Seals card.
Yeah.
It'll help.
There's too much oxygen around. It doesn't really work as well.
So all right, so we've
or is it water? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, it's oxygen. So we've I think we've went in about 10 minutes. That's good. Let's wrap it up. Let's get Terraforming Mars out.
Yes.
Let's cut this episode out.
Yes. Yep. We are going to be reviewing it really soon.
Hope you guys enjoyed listening.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that will probably be, if not next episode, then the one after for sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys didn't like about Terraforming Mars?
The component of the mat, that was the only thing I didn't like.
Yeah,
so some of the components aren't great. They could be a little bit better. I personally, it wasn't that bad in this game, but I don't tend to really like the super like take that cards. Like, haha, I gotcha. Like, it's just, I don't know. It can be frustrating.
So I was actually watching a review earlier because I was just like, I need to see more Terraforming Mars stuff.
I need more in my life.
Yes. And I actually agreed with him is that the take that's, they only, except for one card, they pretty much only affect plants.
Yes.
So, and that's sort of to stop people from just hoarding plants and then just sort of be like, I'm just going to throw out a whole bunch of plants and end this game really quick.
Yeah, well, except for most of them, like the asteroids and stuff, yes, they target plants, but there are at least 2.
Oh, okay.
There's the ants and there's the carnivores.
That's true.
That target specifically cards that you spend actions to put things on, and then those just take those away from you. So it wastes your action.
I mean, so that's the, obviously, if you see it in the draft, don't let anybody get that.
Well, yeah, but you have a chance of never seeing it, and then it negates your card. Like, because every one you add, they take one off. You go nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you see them do that, then you just like, well, I'm not going to spend any more time on this then. Or there's other cards that can allow you to increase some of those enough to where it can maybe stave off those cards.
Maybe. I think that it is a hair much. No, it's a minor complaint. It didn't ruin the game for me either time. Even the first time where I wasn't happy, it's not because of those kind of cards. Mm-hmm. So, minor complaint.
Well, we'll get more into this when we review it.
Yes.
and play it more times.
Yeah. We haven't even used the entire corporate. We haven't even used the corporate era deck.
Yes, then that's going to elongate the game because
it's about half the size of the regular deck.
Yes, and not just that, is that those don't have many things that add to terraforming.
They're all like money, energy.
It's all engine building stuff.
Fuck you cards.
Cool. Yes, yeah, there are a lot of take that cards in there too.
Like that sabotage card.
Yes.
It's like, you just lost a fuckload of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you were mad before, Adrian.
Ooh. Oh boy.
Oh man, when I get to play that on you, you're going to get
son of a bitch.
I hope the floor gets slapped again. We'll see.
God damn it. One time. You slap a floor one time.
And it burns into everyone's memory.
Yeah. Because guess what? People don't usually slap a floor after someone does something in a board game.
But after we played Terraforming Mars, we played Imperial Settlers, which was my first time.
Mine too.
And that was a super fun game.
It was.
Yes. That was my second time. I like it. I really want to get some more of the expansions, have some more races to play, and just kind of rock those out and see how it goes.
Yeah. It's you definitely need to do that. I enjoyed it, and I want to play other races. I like how they all played unique. As the Egyptians, it was great. I was getting all that money, and then I was just...
Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty solid
it was
Egyptian victory there.
Yes, yeah.
So
I used the slavers to great effect.
Yes. Yes. But no, I like it. It's a cute little game. Pretty easy to teach, pretty easy to play.
Yes.
Yeah, I would play that again, especially game night.
Yes.
You always bring that, and then I've just never learned it, and now I've learned it, and now I will play it.
I
Sweet.
agree.
We played Twilight Struggle.
You guys played it.
Yes, Jeff and I played Twilight Struggle. It was Jeff's first time ever playing. It was like my, I don't know, 9th time, maybe 8th, 9th
Wow.
time.
I did pretty well for like
Oh, yeah.
10 to 1 playing ratio.
That's true.
This is one of those games I talked myself into a corner on our
Oh,
board games
you
the other
really
day.
did.
Somebody had posted about like what game, are you on a particularly good streak with, or are you really good at or something. I was like, well, I've never lost at Twilight Struggle, which I haven't. However, I've played Zach a whole bunch. I've played now Jeff, and I've played, I think, 2 other games of it. And I think both of those guys were first time players too. So it's not like I've actually beaten anybody like particularly like experienced at it. Mm-hmm. And so immediately people were like, oh, do you want to play on Steam? Like, shit.
You will be
You're
ruined.
gonna get destroyed.
So, Cold War era, I played as the USSR. You played as the US.
Yes.
I was 5 points from
3.
winning. 3 points.
You got up to
That's
17 points. 20 points wins the game.
pretty early. And then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, but I think my dice rolling really, really screwed me over.
Yeah, that's one thing that you said in the immediate aftermath of that. Pork chop came over and he asked you how the game had went, and you were like, well, dice rolls ruined it for me.
Yeah, I was spending big cards and just rolling a 1 and
Rolling a 1 when you should have rolled a 6, and rolling a 6 when you should have rolled a 1.
Yep. Failing my space race and then failing my coups.
Although you were heavily winning the space race, I was doing equally bad rolling space race rolls.
I got better.
I
at space
only
race.
was as close as I was because I had the one card that just lets me launch 2 spaces up the space race track. Otherwise, I'd have been even further behind.
Yeah.
But
And then I almost immediately got the PC version and have played like 4 games to epic early destruction by the AI.
How long are those games?
Those go to maybe turn 4 mid-war.
Time-wise, I mean.
I don't know, 15, 20 minutes.
Sounds about right, yeah.
it's amazing how much faster a game goes on an app.
Yeah. I get
Well,
to
especially when nobody else, it's just you.
and it tells you exactly where you can do things
Yes.
and how you can do things. That's also how I learned that if you go to nuclear war on your own turn for some reason,
You lose.
you lose.
Yeah.
Because I was going to be like, all right, here's the Olympics. They have to do the Olympics or else they go to nuclear war and then we both lose. And then I realized it's not you both lose. It's whoever's turn it is loses.
Yes. I apparently did not explain that properly.
And I was like, what the fuck? He just caused nuclear war. Why would the AI do that? Oh, because he wins. Yeah, that PC version is solid.
I'm sure it looks good, too.
And there's got like cool, like every once in a while it'll kick in like voice lines from the eras and stuff of all the major figures, which is pretty cool.
Gotcha.
On a similar note there, Essen's coming up, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But one of the games that's coming out at Essen is Solavide, which is a 2-player game from the designers of Twilight Struggle, published by Stronghold Games. And it's supposed to be kind of a new version of Twilight Struggle, and it basically takes place during the Protestant Reformation. And so
Okay.
it's Protestants versus Catholics. And so you get instead of politics, you get to
the
fight over
first
religion. Yes. But it's supposed to be pretty good. I know a lot of people are really looking forward to that coming out of Essen. So
Is it going to be about, you said it's by Stronghold this
Yeah.
time? Okay.
That's the same people that did Terraforming Mars?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And Space Cadets and all those.
And everything.
Not everything, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're,
Stephen Monacore's real hot right now.
yep, they've got some hot games.
Hot games.
So,
Yeah.
while we were playing Twilight Struggle, Zach, you romped on some survivors in the other 7 sins.
That is true. I did.
Romped is a
Well, that is probably because we were playing a rule wrong that made it a lot harder for the other team.
Did you find out what it was?
Yes, I
Yes.
did. So on their turn, when they flip their turn, they can move and do an action or move twice.
Uh-huh.
And so in these districts, they have like city. They're called like city
So
actions.
it's a competitive
It's
miniature.
a 1v, or it's a 1v mini.
Okay.
So I was a sin. I was pride.
Uh-huh.
And they were part of the faith. It's called faith, like faith, and they're just trying to fight the bad guys. Basically.
The 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Good guy group.
Yeah.
Yes.
Technically, the Hell Club and the Hell Club summoning the sins. Anyway, so it takes place over this map, and I have my objective of just kill them. and they have a certain objective depending on the sin and the story and all that stuff.
Okay.
But on the map, you have the streets and you also have buildings. In the buildings, there are things called the city actions that you can do. And we were using it to where they had to take their action to do that do that city action because it's called an action.
Yeah.
But no, they get to do that for free. If they ever go in that building, they'd be like, oh, okay, I just use this. And then they can do their action.
Which some of them are pretty powerful. Like there was one that was like a missile thing that could like shoot bad guys, like a drone or something.
And also the map we were playing on wasn't the best for new people because it was really easy for me to turtle. And they tried turtling. They tried to play it a little bit more like Zombicide, where you're like, here, move, kill things, move, kill things. No, don't. No, that is the wrong thing to do on this. You got to be really fast, and you've got to dictate the speed because the Sin player it's easier for them the longer the game goes. So I want to get another game of this going with the real rules and see, because as I was playing, I was like, I am just destroying them. What is going on?
Yeah.
They're really eager to take corruption and a little too eager.
Yeah. Bob was getting pretty heated.
I mean, we were playing a game, yeah. But no, I enjoyed it. I love the minis.
Those miniatures are fantastic.
They are great and huge, and I can see the gameplay. I do like rolling dice, and it has the burst dice or exploding dice as it, in Warhammer and all that stuff.
Exploding
That's
dice?
like you throw a die, and if you hit a certain number, you get to roll another die.
Basically, if you crit, you roll another die.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so it has it in this. So even if you're rolling smaller die, you have a chance of going crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a fun game,
cool.
but I want to play with the right rules.
Makes sense.
Give it a real play.
Exactly.
And how long did you play?
It felt like it took 2 hours, but I think that's because they were turtling a lot more than they should have, and they were taking a lot longer to do the actions.
Because I know you had set up and started playing in the entire length of us playing Twilight Struggle.
Oh,
Yeah, we played our Twilight Struggle game took abnormally. I mean, we actually ended we played through all the turns and went to final scoring.
That's crazy.
Which I've actually never had happen before. So that was a new experience for me.
I held out as a new
did.
player.
Which, as a new player playing Russia to
yeah.
hold out late game against the U.S. is pretty impressive.
I think I went into final scoring with 1 victory point on my side.
Yep.
Final scoring didn't end up so well, but
it ended up being like 10 or 11 to 0. Well, I mean, the way that game works, because it's 10 or 11.
Yeah, it's a tug of
swing.
war.
Tug of war, yep. And then we did Terraforming Mars again Sunday morning before the Dismal Broncos game.
Yep. 2-0 for that now.
2-0. Yeah. I came in second both times.
I think I've come in last
real
both
close.
times.
Yep.
Don't sit to the right of me or to the left of me.
Clearly.
Yeah, I'll have Adrian and then
Fuck no.
we're gonna play a 3-player game. So one of you fuckers got to be next to me.
I'm always sitting to your right. And then Jeff, you left and went and played 4 or 5 games.
4 games of Pandemic Legacy.
And we watched the Broncos game and then played 2 games of Pandemic Legacy.
And we are now both equal in our campaigns. Exactly.
In November.
So we are wrapping those up soon.
About to start November. Yes.
Hopefully we'll have part 2 of our review soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got a couple more games to play. 2 to 4 games. That's it.
Yeah, and after we finish those last 2 games, we'll be able to do part 2 of our Pandemic Legacy spoilers cast. Let you guys know how our respective games turned out.
If it ended poorly or good.
I've seen some big things that we could definitely have giant divergence on.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
We might have to bring David in if he finishes up his one to have even a third one, because it sounds like his is going to be drastically different
That is
from what
true.
he was saying last night.
Yes.
So we'll see. But that wraps up pretty much all the plethora of games we played this weekend.
Anything other than Terraforming Mars, I don't feel like playing right now. I'm sort of worn out.
Pretty fair.
I lost 7 different games in a row, and then Pandemic Legacy happened.
Jeez. That's a rough weekend, Jeff.
So every time you bitch about losing...
I don't bitch about losing. You guys bitch about you mock me for always losing, which I don't do.
I always lose.
Clearly.
Let's see. I think I won since Wednesday, not counting Pandemic. I won 4 out of the 5 games I played.
Hey, fuck you, Zach.
Yep. Suck it dry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Vote to dispel Zach from the podcast.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I refuse to leave.
Has to be unanimous.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, yes. Oh, what?
Fuck. Oh, shit.
I wasn't paying attention.
What was the question? But all right. So
Many games were played.
that pretty much wraps up our weekends there and what we've been up to and what we've played.
Yeah.
And acquired, I guess.
Oh, so many games.
We got Cry Havoc to play still.
We do.
Oh my god.
And you guys got to play the other 7 Sins. And we got to play more Terraforming
And Zach's gonna be out of town this weekend. Next weekend, though, not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend is BCon.
Okay.
So
Be there.
Maybe we can
Or
just
be square.
Maybe
Be something.
Yes, we get it.
Be
We can play a bunch of
consistent.
games. But all right. So as we mentioned just briefly a little bit earlier, Essen is coming up this weekend.
It is.
We unfortunately are not going to be there.
Because Germany
Shocker.
is not nearby.
It is not.
I would really want to go.
Oh, I do too. Real bad.
Yeah, I would.
Just because I want to go to Germany more than
Also,
fuck
yes.
board games, but that'd be cool.
Germany's awesome. I was
I've
only,
heard good things about it.
I was there for a long layover, like had a whole day to spend in Frankfurt, and even one day in Frankfurt was awesome, and I definitely want to go back and spend more time in Germany. So definitely want to go to Essen sometime and take like a whole week and a half, 2 weeks, and spend a bunch of time hanging out around Germany and then going and checking out a bunch of board games. But so
Just know that it'll be busier than Gen Con and more business oriented.
yes, and that's fine.
Oh, it's not a deal breaker for you.
Not for me. No.
Business? Fuck.
But so there's obviously been a whole lot of coverage about things that are coming out and coming up and what everybody's looking forward to. So we thought we'd throw in our 2 cents and let you guys know some games we're intrigued by that are coming out around Essen. Zach, you want to kick it off?
Sure. My first cent is raise your goblets.
Yes. I'm glad that you
Yes,
alliterated that
I
a little
did.
bit better
Raise.
this time.
Enunciated is the word.
Enunciate
you're
is the
looking for.
word I was looking for, yes.
Yes, there was no alliteration in this.
No, there was not.
So raise
I can do words.
your goblets. It's only because if I say it fast, it sounds like I'm saying razor goblets.
Razor Goblets.
Razor goblets.
Which also sounds like an awesome game.
Yes. So this is just another party game. Has a bit of deduction, but memory too. So basically, it's 2 to 12 players.
Holy crap.
wow.
Yeah, everybody gets these plastic goblets.
Which that, and I'm wondering, are they going to be like the dice game little cups? Probably.
No, they actually look like little cheap, like little plastic goblet things.
That's awesome.
Yes, and it's produced or it's being published by Cool Mini or not. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
They got some cool publishing stuff in there.
Yes, they do.
sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
And so this one is it is like I said, a 2 to 12 player game, and everyone has these goblets, and you get a card that says who you want to poison.
Which is open knowledge.
It's open knowledge. So if I get a card that says I want to poison Jeff, hey Jeff, how's it going, buddy?
Just so you know, I want you dead.
Yes, and so it's all about.
I was just telling you that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just in general,
Yes.
right? Okay, that's
also,
fine.
yes.
But basically, in the game, you have all these. You have poison and antidote things that you're going to be putting in goblets, moving goblets around, and then at some point, someone's going to go cheers.
It's like Princess Bride, the game.
Exactly. Yes, and then if you have more poison than antidote, you die. And so it seems pretty cool.
You'd say there was like some resistances that you could have or something.
No, apparently each noble has a special ability too. So
Okay.
you're going to have something unique.
So someone
to
could be resistant to something fancy.
something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do you know, Zach, from looking things over, are there different poisons? Like, or is it just
No, I think it's-
poison or antidote?
I think
Like
it's
two
poison,
tokens?
antidote, and then something else too.
Okay.
I haven't. There's
Super
some
poison.
there's some information, but not a lot.
Okay.
I've noticed that a lot of these Essen games you don't know quite as much
No.
as we did for the Gen Con games.
Doesn't help that a lot of the web pages are entirely in German, and I can't find a button to switch it to English.
It's probably in German that it just says translate here, but you can't read German. So
Exactly.
it's
I
not
want to say a
helping.
lot of Essen stuff is announced a lot shorter.
That is
than
true,
It's
yes.
like, or they're announcing at Essen.
Yeah.
Seems to be a bigger deal.
Yes. I can definitely see that.
So, what's your second cent?
My second of the 2 cents is Dreams.
Okay.
And so this one is I don't remember if I talked about it earlier. It's like a mix of Dixit and Spyfall. Yeah, and so basically you have this giant empty sky, and there are like 4 pictures that are going to show up because each of you are gods trying to basically make a new constellation.
Okay.
But one of you doesn't know which constellation you're trying to make. And so you take these either black or white, like gem type things, and you put them on the board in certain patterns, and you're trying to make one of the constellations.
Okay.
But the person who doesn't know is just been like, because they'll look at the other picture like maybe something over here and something like that, and then near the end you're like, I don't think Jeff put this gem over here that has nothing to do with it. You're the imposter. But I like Spyfall, and this seems like a more gamier version. So we'll see if it actually translates to a better game.
So in a related note, Zach, have you heard of the game Fake Artist in Paris?
Yes, I have.
Any interest in that? I mean, that's just kind of a similar idea too. That
it is. It seems a bit weirder, just because basically you're trying to draw something, but not.
So like
Yeah,
Spyfall,
you
one
tell.
person is the fake artist, so they're not a real artist. Everybody else is supposed to be the real artist. They know what you're trying to draw. Like they have what it is, and you take turns on like a little notepad, making one line of the drawing and then passing it. And the next person does it, and then so whoever doesn't know has to, like, when they get it, guess at what the lines are making, and you do it 2 full times around, and then everybody can be like, oh, I think that so-and-so is the one who fucked up the lines and is the imposter or the fake
Interesting.
artist.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see that one working too. I haven't heard that much about it. I mean, I've heard some people like it and some people not.
Okay.
I think it's also just the drawing part versus, I don't know. I like the giant empty sky that you're making constellations at.
Okay.
That sounds a bit more interesting to me, maybe, but
Sure.
we'll see.
All right. Jeff, what are some of the games you're looking forward to?
One that's a little competitive card game. It's called RONE, RONE, Races of New Era. It's interesting little card game where it's like super post-apocalyptic, dark, brutal.
Sounds pleasant.
Yeah, I like those sort of themes. Your health is your deck, and you have to play cards specifically knowing that when you're playing the card, you're going to be wiping out tons of your life and stuff like that. It was a Kickstarter coming out at Essen. I'll get some more info as soon as that comes out, because like Essen, you don't really know much about it until it's there.
No,
Yeah.
we played the Pathfinder adventure card game, 2 campaigns of that, and it had that same mechanism of your deck is your health, and so that part is I thought that was interesting to be like, oh, if I play these cards, it's gonna make me a lot better and easier at killing this, but it's just another card I have to draw next turn.
Yeah, and it was interesting with like some of the characters, like the wizards, they'd have huge hand sizes, so they'd pull a lot of health each time. And
then if they weren't prepared and they got hit with damage, you could easily die if you weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
So seeing that in another game is good, I think, because
Yeah.
I thought that was a well done mechanism, and seeing it outside of that is going to be cool.
yeah, definitely we'll have to keep an eye on that also.
Another one is Great Western Trail.
I've heard great things about this.
It's a cattle herding game. It's Stronghold Games. Another Terraforming Mars esque publisher.
Yeah,
I guess esque.
That's publisher. No, so Stronghold's done obviously Terraforming Mars. We're just talking about Sola Vita that I mentioned earlier.
They have a lot of games.
They're on a
Yeah,
hot streak.
Dragon and Flagon, which is real
I
popular right
want
now.
to try that one out. Yeah.
Bunch of stuff.
So a little deck building, point-to-point movement, tile placement. Looks really good. Looking forward to finding out more about that one, too. And then real quick, Power Grid, the card game. I love Power Grid. They're coming out with a card game. Hopefully it comes out better than Manhattan Project, the card game.
Or I'm sure it won't be as light as Manhattan Project, the card game.
Yeah, I sure hope not.
But I could always use a smaller version of Power Grid to kind of hit my Power Grid need.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I've played Power Grid once. I liked it, but it's been a long time.
I've probably got
Paper money. Boo.
I've probably got 10, 12 plays in it.
I've got a couple. I enjoyed it, but there are other games I like better.
Right on. Well, for
False.
myself,
Yes.
really all I need to do is just say the name of the designer, and you'll probably know immediately what 2 games I'm interested in. They are Cottage, Garden, and Feast for Odin, both by Uwe Rosenberg. Cottage Garden is like a little bit more fleshed out 4-person version of Patchwork, where you're building a couple different gardens. And on this one, I guess, unlike Patchwork, where you start with just kind of a blank grid, this one, your grid has some starting things that are good if you can incorporate them into your garden, but you can also cover them up if you need to. And you have 2 beds. So instead of 1 grid, you have 2 grids, and you got to kind of fill both of them up. But it looks beautiful. The artwork on the tiles, and a lot of it's all flowers and things, and so it's real bright and colorful, which Patchwork kind of is, but it's not nearly as vibrant as this. I love the artwork for this. Even the box art looks great.
Yeah, vibrant is a good word for it.
Yeah. So I'm interested and excited for Cottage Garden. I will probably pick it up for sure. The one that I am like super just getting antsy about and can't wait to get my hands on is Feast for Odin, which looks to be, by all accounts, his magnum opus. It's like a little bit of Caverna, a little bit of Patchwork, a little bit of Le Havre, a little bit of one of his other games that I don't have. Somebody mentioned
Glass Road?
No. Whatever. It's got like a bunch of mechanics from all his different games. It is his biggest box.
Yeah, it's big. It's supposed to be. It's bigger than Caverna, and probably way more too.
Holy shit!
I actually found out seconds ago that apparently Patchwork is the result of his work
on Feast for Odin.
Yes.
So the mechanic in Feast for Odin was going really well, and he decided that it could be its own standalone game, spun off Patchwork, and then now this is entirely conjecture. From this point on, this is conjecture. I feel like Patchwork was really successful. That's not conjecture. Patchwork was really successful. People like Patchwork. This is
Adrian's opinion.
This is conjecture. I believe then that since Patchwork was successful, but it was relatively simple and just a 2-player game, that's kind of where the impetus came to figure out Cottage Garden and make a slightly more fleshed out multiplayer, like up to 4-player game that's based largely on Patchwork. So that's my pet theory. I don't know.
Pet theory.
Anyway,
conjecture, using all these words.
Anyway, back to Feast for Odin. I just want to play it. It looks amazing. It's huge. Play it too. It's going to take up my entire table. And God, I can't wait.
That's got to be an expensive game. Caverna was already like $95.
Yeah, I don't know what the MSRP is on it, but it is currently on Amazon for $99, and it's $75 for a pre-order from some game store on Board Game Geek.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's at MSRP or not. But it's $75 plus like $15 shipping and handling as a pre-order. So I don't know. We'll see. But whatever it is, I'm going to pay it because, God, I want this game.
Because I do want to play that game too.
So
put it straight into your veins.
Yep. Super eager. Yeah, there's a few other kind of interesting games that I've been looking at, but those are the 2 that I'm like really dying for. So
yeah.
Anything else to add for you guys for Essen stuff? No. Besides wishing we were there?
Right?
There was a really cool defense game that I don't remember the name now.
Super useful.
Yeah. Was it like Siege? Was it the Siege of the Citadel one or something like that?
Yeah, it was like a cooperative defense against like waves of barbarians game.
Don't know at all.
Listeners, if you know, go ahead and tweet it at us. Tell us.
With a derogatory mark towards Jeff for not knowing.
Yeah.
How dare I?
Yes.
But
that better be in there. How dare you not know the name of this game?
You son of a.
But I had never seen a game like that before that had that mechanic. So I thought it was interesting.
Okay. Right on. Well, that I think then wraps up our really simple basic coverage of Spiel. Well, I think it's time to move on to our review. What do you guys think?
Okay.
Can I refuse?
The enthusiasm is palpable.
Yes.
Right. But no, I am excited about this review.
Oh, God.
All right, on to the review.
Okay.
Today we are going to be reviewing The Networks. It's a 2016 release by designer Gil Hova, published by Formal Ferret Games. It plays 1 to 5 players and takes 60 to 90 minutes. Zach, would you like to give us a rules breakdown of The Networks?
My pleasure. In The Networks, you and your friends are new TV networks competing for viewers during primetime slots over 5 seasons or rounds. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to take a starting network and its associated cards, and then each round, a selection of new shows, actors, ads, and network cards are placed in the common area and are available for selection. On your turn, you can do a number of actions, including you can sign a star, which will get you additional viewers. You can land an ad, which will help offset show running costs. You can also develop a new show, attaching any necessary stars and ads needed, and shows will get better ratings if they're in the preferred time slot. If you develop several shows within the same genre, you will be awarded a genre bonus, which will allow you to draw free cards. You can also grab network cards, which will have either immediate or lasting effects. You can also attach a star or an ad to an already developed show. And then when you're done, you can drop in budget, which is basically passing, and that will set the turn order for the next round. And you will get more money and viewers, which is points, for dropping early. At the end of season, you will pay or get money for the running costs of the shows, and you will score points based off of your current show lineup. You will then aid shows for the next season and move reruns into archives. After the 5th round, you will do one final scoring of viewers and add points from network cards, and then the highest viewer total wins. And that's the networks. Back to you, Adrian.
All right. Well, like we mentioned in our little banter there, we played Networks Wednesday at our game night, and we've played it previously a few times. Zach, you had this back prior to even Gen Con, because you got it through Kickstarter, right?
I did. Yes, I got it a couple weeks before Kickstarter, but I didn't get a chance to play it.
A couple weeks before Gen Con?
That's what I meant. I said Kickstarter,
You
didn't
did.
I got a couple weeks before the Kickstarter started. I had a couple weeks before Gen Con. And pretty much in Gen Con, I was like, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
And we did.
We did twice there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I only played it once there,
true.
but I immediately liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
It is hilarious. It's fun. It's fun and funny. I like the artwork. I like the creativity behind like the show names, like trying to figure out, based on a show name, like, wait, what show is this totally mocking? And it is
Like
just
Waterbug. Was that what?
Waterbug is the Firefly version. There's also Found instead of Lost. Broken Worse.
Broken Worse, yep.
What was it? Pulleys?
Yes, for instead of leverage.
Yeah. So there's a ton. They're all just wonderful little twists on them. Some of them, the Pulleys, I think, was one at Gen Con. Everybody was sitting around like, wait,
what is this?
What is this one?
And then just the little light bulb went, ding.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's totally leverage.
Then there's also ones like Chainmail Bikini Warriors.
that are just nonsense.
Well, that's Xena,
Yes.
clearly.
Yep.
I enjoy that we all start as public access television.
Yes.
And all of our starting garbage TV shows are like Cooking with Milk.
Who's not going to watch Unlocking Your Cat's Psychic Potential? Why does that not have 10 viewers every season? That is bullshit.
But no, I like it. I enjoy playing it. I was pretty stoked to play it again to review it. It's always a good excuse to get some of these games back to the table that I like, but don't always see a lot. So
Yeah, I can see that. And I agree.
yeah. So to really start to dive into this game, let's start off with components. What do you guys think of the components for this game?
They're good. They're good. I like the money. I like that it's, they're just little cardboard things, but they have a little personality. Like just how the money stacks look nice. The 1 and 5 look different. They're actual different sizes.
Yep.
They're decently thick enough.
Stacks of cash.
Yes.
Even the way they drew the art, it looks like a stack of cash instead of just being like a 2D drawing.
That is correct.
I really like the artwork, kind of going along with components there. The art is just fantastic. Old people yelling at things has just ridiculous art for a bunch of old people yelling.
They went the correct direction, I think, in making it look very cartoon-ish.
Yes.
And so cartoonish and exaggerated for a lot of these things.
Yes, definitely.
Minimalist
Also that too.
with color and detail.
Yes. The bare minimum needed with all that extra detail that you love.
Yep.
I think that the creativity, like I said, that went into the show names and even like the ad names and the actor types, overly dramatic actor or guy who dies in everything.
These all have nice special rules that will make it so it's like the guy that dies in everything, he can be really good in season 1 and then drop off to 0 for everything else because he died in season 1.
Yeah, I like that they use as much of the cards as they can.
Yeah.
And like certain cards, you actually flip them around and they do different things and has different numbers. And so there's just a lot of information on the cards, but it's easily accessible.
Yes. The way that when you make a show and you attach the ad and the actor, if you're doing more than one, you can stack them up real nice so that they sit in a small space and you can see everything that's attached and what its effects are, which is really nice also.
The player boards.
The player boards, yes, they're great.
Being able to know where to attach all that stuff. They're all clearly designated.
And the fact that it just gave you a counting thing too is, I think, one of the best things about it, is just because there's a lot of math in this game.
Yeah.
It's not complicated math, but it's still adding numbers, and you don't have to get a calculator or anything because it has a nice count to 50, and you just like, okay, this is 18, and 12 to that, that's 30, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Also,
So
screw anyone that has to lap their player board to count points.
did that happen?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I think some asshole won, maybe. Sounds about right.
I didn't just win. I dominated.
It's true you did. Yeah, that one game I did win, I got crushed.
I lapped like 100 I did like 100 points in one round of final scoring at the end. It was glorious. I loved it. Made me very happy.
Disgusting.
It was.
All the markers are nice.
Yeah, they're all nice. They came with, stickers for me to put on, so it was easy. It wasn't just the color, but it was also the name too. So, and everybody has their own unique name. There was U42 Moo TV or something like that.
Yep. So components we all like, we think are good.
Yep.
Overall rules, rule book, things like that. How does all that seem to work? It seems easy to teach.
Yeah, it was easy enough to teach. Once again, going back to that player board you have, it tells you your entire. It's basically also a reference sheet too. It tells you all the order that you can do things. If you get genre bonuses, what you can get from those, end of scoring, and all that stuff. So it's also great. It's great that you don't have to keep referencing. You can do like, oh, it's what else can I do? Oh, like it shows me right here what I can do.
Right. I do really like in the rule book for some of the more interesting cards that have some different effects. They've got a nice glossary of what those cards do and how they actually play. And even some of them, they're like, yeah, we realize that card's kind of screwy. Feel free to disregard it. Like,
that one. Okay. So there was part of the Kickstarter. They also included an on the air expansion, which you got for free if you did a Kickstarter, but you could buy it later. And so the rulebook actually, because a lot of those, or at least the one I got was because it was Kickstarter, it had the rules for the on the air cards too. And one of them was just, you get money if you like touch things as the sound editor. And like, yeah, it's sort of screwy, but that's the best description of a sound editor. And we're like, okay.
But other than that, I don't think there's any issues with the rules. Like, there's no confusion or things that do weird things.
No. It's really self-explanatory, and it's not, like I said, it's not that complex of a game. It's just the interactions that can get complex.
Yeah, I feel like, with a new player, they might, the rules, they'll understand them after they play like one round. Like, you play that first round, you kind of see how buying shows work, attaching actors and ads and things, and then it's one that it starts to click pretty much right away.
I can agree with that, yeah.
So
there's definitely some analysis.
Paralysis, yeah.
Yeah.
Paralyzation.
The way you have to lay out so many cards that if you have the wrong size table, so that was the one downside to where we played game night this Wednesday, is the table was really narrow. So a few of the players were sitting in awkward spots where it's hard for them to even see the cards that were available.
Especially because the glare from the things too.
So a lot of their turn was just trying to figure out what cards are even available for them to purchase
and especially if they're new too, it can really drag out the game longer than you'd like, because it took us 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah, it definitely went long. It was, which is funny. Like, I don't think of 2.5 hours is that long of a game, but at game night it absolutely is, because people come
forever.
by like, you're still playing that same game?
Oh no, when we played Terraforming Mars the second time, it took us 2.5 hours or so, and we're like, man, that was quick.
Yep.
Can we do another one? And game night, you're just like, oh god, this is taking forever.
It doesn't help that like there's constant interruptions and distractions and things like that going on at game night.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, moving on from rules and rulebook, gameplay overall,
it's fun. It's easy. Like I said, it's there's not that much downtime, except when you're reading the cards to try and figure out what they are, because you're like, usually you're trying to go for genre bonus. Like, there's always a couple things that you're like, I need to focus on those couple ones. I have this time slot that's available. If no one takes that, I'm going to do it. I don't have any actors. I need to get actors to be able to do that show I need. So there's usually a good chain of events that you can follow.
Yeah.
But there is still enough extra things that you can be like, oh, they took that actor I wanted. Well, I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'll get an ad because I need more money or something like that.
Yeah, you're not usually ever completely screwed on a turn because of somebody else's actions, but there definitely is that little bit of like, oh man, I really wanted that one show that fits in this time slot well. Like, it sucks that I can't do that now. I have to figure something else out.
And I think that's where the network cards come in, because if you have the right one, it can mitigate a lot of those negative factors.
That is very true. And so the one problem with those, and in respect to the other game, is like that game, or especially like the shows and stuff, you always feel like a ramping up.
Yeah.
The network cards are always just random. We're not going to see most of those cards.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of cards, and obviously you can take out, because they actually have them labeled. They have advanced, which are more complicated ones if you don't want to play with those. They have interactive, which are fuck you cards.
You should just call it that in the rulebook.
Right? The fuck you card, yeah. And then also the on the air expansion ones too.
Right.
So it's nice to be like, well, I'm playing with someone who's really like adverse to confrontation in that, and you can just take it out, and then you're playing a game of multiplayer solitaire. Yeah. With some denial, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely there's more interaction than say like a game that like Race for the Galaxy, which is like a great example of multiplayer solitaire.
Yes.
But no, I really do. I think it plays smooth. I think the round progression and things make sense. The way shows age and then move over to reruns and then go out of favor, essentially.
Yes.
All makes a lot of sense. They capture the theme really well.
They do.
There's almost a contradiction to the rules for everything.
Oh, like for specific instances where it's not.
You can always break the rules somehow.
Yes.
Normally when a show goes off the air, so your ads and your actors are all gone as well, discarded. But there's always going to be an action card or another card that's like, oh, just put them back in your green room.
Yeah.
So you'll have a chance to save anything if you play right.
And so the one we mentioned earlier, and it's still probably one of my favorite cards in there, Waterbug, the Firefly one.
Yep.
If you put it on the time slot and then immediately cancel it,
and immediately replace it.
Stay in reruns forever.
Yeah, you have to cancel it before the first season.
Exactly.
So and then that's one, like, so there's things, we mentioned the guy who dies and everything, which is obviously Sean Bean. If, you can put him on that show and then cancel him and then use one of the cards Jeff was talking about, where like, oh, this guy goes back into your green room, and then you can keep bouncing him out to different shows and doing different things with him, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think that's where like a lot of that complexity comes from, is just all the different things you can do. So multiple plays, you're going to be like, oh, I know this works well. I know this card is great. So if I'm planning to have a lot of shows, rerun at the same time, I'll get this card that'll get me extra fucking viewers for every rerun.
One thing that I think is a little bit tricky for new people to get, if it's not explained very well, is that after the 5th season, you play all the way through the 5th season, you score it, and then you age your shows and then score them one final time. So people think like, oh, we're going to just age at the end. After the 5th round, it's over, so I don't need to worry about it. And then their shows all age to like really bad ratings levels, and then that final scoring is poor for them.
That sort of happened for me a bit.
Did it?
Yeah. Well, also, unfortunately, like one of the reasons I did not do that great was just because the last 2 seasons, maybe one of my shows was in its prime time slot. Like everything else, they were all bad, because there was only one 10 p.m. one that came out and someone grabbed it before I had a chance to, and I'm like, well, fuck. Now I'll just have to go for genre bonuses and stuff to hopefully help. And it did a bit, but it's still it sucked on the inside.
It sucked on the inside.
Yeah, I would have really liked to win all the games that I had played.
Yeah, I would say I feel bad for you, but good God, it was sweet beating you so thoroughly at Networks.
Yeah.
You ravaged everyone.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about it. Mm-hmm. I tried not to gloat too much until, well, right now.
Till nowish.
Yeah. But to now you have a voice to reach other people.
Yes, everyone gets to hear me gloat. But okay, so any final thoughts or anything you want to add on to this game, other than the fact that we really like it and recommend it?
I would say it's best with 4 people. 5, I think, took it a little bit longer than I'd like to.
That makes sense. I could see that.
It was fine with 3 players.
Yeah, I think it plays well with 3.
I haven't tried with 2 players, but it has a sort of dummy third player in the sense that there's this clock that goes around, and every time you pass a line, So the network cards have little symbols on the bottom, and you draw one of those cards and you get rid of whatever show or ad or star that's on there.
Okay.
Well, the leftmost one. So it's like a third person is buying them.
Gotcha.
Oh,
And so you see this left one here, and you're like, oh, I really like that guy, but it may not make it another round if I don't get it. So it has a little, and I haven't played the one player version of it yet. So
Right on.
yeah, but it's
Okay. Well, I thoroughly enjoy the game. I highly recommend it.
It's a good game.
it's a good game. Yeah, I'm glad that I kickstarted it.
It's hard to put humor into board games, and I think this one nailed it.
I could see it getting a little like it doesn't become as funny. The more you see those cards,
That's the problem with all humor,
yeah, exactly.
especially a
printed humor,
static
exactly.
game.
So just it won't always be hilarious, but it's still enjoyable and humorous, I would say.
Right.
Absolutely.
Especially if you bring in new players, get some fresh outlook on it, because then you can kind of chuckle. Like, you see them react, you're like, oh, yeah, I remember when that joke was hilarious.
And it's also, like, I always try and do a little bit, too, whenever I put a new show out. It's like, oh, yeah, it's this show starring the overly dramatic actor, brought to you by, was it Franchini's jalapeno hot sauce or something like that.
Yeah, or whatever knockoff plutonium source.
So
or,
Crazy Jose's discount plutonium or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's another one of those games, like, just a little bit of that kind of getting into it and churching it up a bit helps a lot.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our review of the networks. I think it's safe to say that we all here really enjoy it.
We do.
Recommend it if you can get your hands on it. Might have to wait for the next printing run. But
If you're in Essen, feel free to hopefully buy it. Otherwise,
if you're at Essen, there will be copies there, but I know Gil sold out pretty hard at Gen Con, so he might sell out at Essen too.
It might be cheaper to buy a plane ticket to Essen than try and buy it from the third party.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. So, all right. Well, I think it's time to move on to our discussion, guys. What do you think?
No.
Oh, God damn it, man. You
I want to stay in this review forever.
You are all the worst. Anyway, we're moving on.
You shouldn't give us choices.
First mistake.
Evidently not. Evidently not. Trying to include you guys. So for today's discussion topic, we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about luck versus skill in board games. And if you follow us on Twitter, you may have seen in the most recent edition of the Board Game Hour, they were talking about control. They were doing head-to-head discussions about a variety of topics, and one of their topics was control versus randomness in board games. And I think that might have been one of the few that actually prompted Zach to go on and reply in addition to my own reply. So there's two from our same Twitter.
I at least noted that it was me.
Yes. But so this is an area where Zach and I definitely disagree a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see where Jeff chimes in on this one. I guess, to start with our varying contrasting positions here, I prefer to minimize randomness and luck in a board game. I don't mind a little bit of variability in a board game, but overall, I want to feel like I win or lose based on how I played. Like if I win, or if I played really well, I'm at least have a good chance to win. Whereas if I played really bad, I'm probably going to lose. I don't want to play really well and then lose because of randomness. And I don't want to play really poorly and then win because of randomness. Both of those feel hollow to me. Zach, you disagree.
I do. So I chose randomness out of the two, although obviously, ideally, you want a mixture of both. But I think that having, the best person at that game shouldn't always win. Because I think that is very detrimental to introducing new people to the game.
That's fair.
Because there have definitely been games where, you play and they're like, oh, I'm a new person, and they'll just get trounced, and they're like, oh, I don't want to play it. Like, you want to at least give them a fighting chance. Having randomness can help that, and it also makes it unpredictable, and it also means that long-term strategies aren't always effective.
So I agree with you that I do like a little bit of randomness. Like, I don't want there to be no randomness because, again, like you said, you shouldn't always just have whoever's best always winning. But if you have a good strategy, I feel like you should have a decent chance at winning a game. You shouldn't just lose because of some random element in the game. Jeff, I feel like you have recent experience with this with our Twilight Struggle game. Like, that's one of the things you said you had a problem with.
I would say that's probably the most strategic game I've ever played. But the dice rolls in that game can make huge swings. And if you don't get lucky on those, or the majority of those, you can just turn that game into a disaster.
Well, I think the problem is you don't necessarily need to be lucky with the rolls. You just can't be terribly unlucky, which you happen to be. Like, your rolls were awful.
I'm glad I didn't do any realignments.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you just got 7 influence there. You got another 4 and a 5.
Yeah. So, and that's a good example of, as somebody myself who tends towards Euros, that's a big element of Euros. That's one of the things that I really agree with the heavy cardboard guys and gal, Amanda. I want to minimize randomness to where it has that little bit of swing where anybody can win if they play well. But, I don't want, like Jeff did. Jeff played a great game of Twilight Struggle and he lost. He took Russia into final scoring. Like, that's pretty impressive. And then he lost because he had really bad rolls. He should have smoked me way earlier in that game. And that's not fair to him. So
it's a little bit on. I mean, there is that slight bit of randomness. What cards you get, what draws you get.
Yeah.
And that's change up every game.
That's the kind of randomness I'm really okay with. I really like that. Like, that randomness doesn't bother me at all.
No,
dice rolling can start to bother me.
So it's also good if you have some sort of way to mitigate.
Yes.
Right. So if a game has randomness, then it should also have a way to hopefully mitigate part of it at least.
Correct.
So like Machi Koro is, you all on your turn you're just rolling dice and whatever you get. But the strategy in that is buying the cards that can best help you when any of your dice is rolled. You have a good chance of getting something good.
Yes, definitely.
So that's some way to mitigate just rolling 2 dice.
Catan is very good.
And that's where I was going to go. Catan is a game I actually really enjoy that has a lot of dice chucking because if you have a good strategy and really spread your settlements out across the right numbers, then you're likely going to get resources on every dice roll. And then if you have a good enough strategy to use those cards that you get and proceed and move on, you can win. Sometimes there will be really aberrant dice rolls. 3s will hit 6 times in 10 rolls, which is statistically unlikely, but it happens.
Yes, it does.
And then those you can shrug off, but most of the time, if you implement a good strategy around the randomness, you can mitigate it and do okay. I like that.
So there's one thing in Settlers of Catan that I've seen people use, and instead of using dice, because there are people that are like, they hate that, it does have a random distribution, but it's also random in that distribution.
Yes.
So there are people that have a dice deck that has all the different combinations of sevens that you roll on that stuff. You shuffle it up, and then so you get a random number, but it's predetermined, what percentage you're going to get for that.
So on that deck, when you draw a 7,
yes,
it's just a discard pile. So now there's less chance of that 7s coming up anymore.
And I think that is, I personally think that's stupid. And
but how is that any different than going to a casino and playing blackjack with a fixed deck of cards?
Because it's Catan.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's I would say just like I wouldn't go to a casino and play blackjack with a single deck of cards.
No, yeah,
I wouldn't do it with a single distribution. I'd want all the possible die numbers. Like their probabilities, 1 and 6 for 7, 3 and 4 for 7, all the different ones.
Cards,
but I'd want
different.
2 or 3 decks of those, so that you can't card count and be like, oh, well, we're halfway through the deck and there hasn't been a 3 at all.
So would you be fine with using that for craps, since that's dice?
Fuck no.
Yeah, exactly.
but craps is a little bit. No, I want to say craps is different because, well, it's not.
Nope, it's in your face, Adrian.
Suck it dry.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't play Catan that way either. I can understand why some people do.
I think that needs to be there, because if you have a game where it's just beyond all odds, every other roll is a 12. That makes for an amazing game.
It makes for an interesting game.
Yes.
I don't know about an amazing game, but it does make for an interesting game.
I think it makes for, you just I just can't, it's astounding that this 12 is just hitting all the time.
The one random player who gets screwed, everybody kind of blocks him in and he has to build on the coast and the desert and the 12.
Yeah,
and he's this is going to screw me.
Exactly.
And then the 12 just hits nonstop.
Exactly. And so even though people are like, oh, I'm going to get on those 8s and 6s and I'm going to play good, it's still just... It just happened that point, 12, 6s, 7s and 8 or 6s and 8s just didn't hit that much, and I think that makes for more interesting gameplay.
I think for myself, A lot of it has to do with knowing what kind of game I'm going into. Like a game like Catan, I accept that the dice rolls are a huge part of that game, and sometimes they're not going to fall right, and it can be frustrating. And I might bitch about the dice. Or another game that involves chucking a lot of dice, D&D. You build your character to where you get a bunch of pluses and minuses that try and mitigate that randomness. But every now and then you're going to roll a 1 on a dice roll where like you win on a 3 or higher. You throw the 1, it's like, son of a bitch. And you joke about burning your dice and shit like that. If I'm going into a game where that's a fundamental part of it, it's a little bit different. Overall, I like games, like right now, one of my current favorite games is Le Havre. There's no dice chucking. The randomness is in the order of the cards, and that's about it.
Otherwise, same for Caverna, Agricola.
Yeah, and those are games that I love. There's a little bit of randomness, and it's not always going to be the best player who wins. There's a chance for anybody who's good to win. If you're a newbie, you're probably going to lose. But I don't know. I feel like at that point, it's on the people playing. If you're 3 experienced players playing with 1 new person, you should be giving them tips and strategy and helping them along and not just hanging them out to dry.
I think it's on how invested you get in games, too. Will depend on how much you hate or like randomness.
I may or may not get invested in games.
You get super invested, and so for that I can understand. You're like, I was super into all of it, but then this one dice just fucked me over. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but I can understand it.
That's what life's all about. Disagreeing but understanding.
Yes.
I think that's what turned everyone's corner on Terraforming Mars as well.
Yes. So that drafting definitely helped because, originally it's just you draw 4 cards and then whatever ones you want to keep, you buy. Otherwise, you just throw them away. And so there are times where you just get 4 garbage cards and you're like, oh, look, Jeff got 4 amazing cards. Hooray!
Yeah.
Although it didn't happen in those games.
Nope. It didn't.
But with drafting, you're just like, oh, there's all these good cards, but I want this one. I want the best. And then the other ones, you're like, oh, I got 3. There's still a good choice. And then, 2 and 1. And the last one, you're usually like, okay, yeah, I'm vomit that one away. But it definitely helped to mitigate because you can choose out of those 4. I want this card. But it also sucked when there are like 2 amazing cards in there. Mm-hmm. Or there's a great one for me, but an even greater one for Adrian, who's to my left. And I'm like, do I take this great one for me or fuck over Adrian? I don't know.
Yeah, that's always a struggle because you love fucking me over.
I do. I mean, it also happens naturally in a lot of games. Like I've always said, it's, when we were playing Quadropolis, it was just, oh man, this spot feels great. I don't know why. I'm just going to take this because I want it, but it also just feels right. And then I place it down, Adrian. God damn it.
The same thing happened when we played over Paul's house with Megan. Megan was sitting to my right, and she did the same thing, like 4 turns in a row. She either took or blocked the move I was going to make.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God.
You should quit wanting the best move.
That's true.
Evidently.
Yes.
Just do the second best all game.
Yeah. So overall, I guess I think, although we disagree in our general preferences, we kind of find that middle ground. Like,
did we ever get Jeff's opinion? Like,
did we get Jeff's opinion?
No.
Yeah.
Jeff,
come on, Adrian.
Jeff, what's your opinion?
Games that are too lucky are hard to come by that I enjoy. What's a good example of a luck-based board game besides like Yahtzee?
King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo.
Basically, any game with a Yahtzee mechanic, which is like a King of Tokyo.
I like King of Tokyo though, because you can mitigate that by knowing which ones you can re-roll and which ones
and then
you
getting upgrade cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's enough randomness to where skill can help.
Although I can have,
depending on your luck, you can use your skill in knowing the game to mitigate your fuckery.
See, yes. I disagree. Although I can enjoy that game when I play it because I can sit down and be like, all right, I'm going into this game. I'm not going to take this seriously because it's all going to be dice roll bullshit. I feel like that game is the epitome of a game where you can have a great strategy. You can have good cards. You go out there, you throw a couple bad rolls, and your opponents throw a few good rolls, and you're out of the game. Like, you're dead. You throw your first roll, you go into Tokyo with full health. Your opponents go 4 times around the table.
That's when you leave. If someone, it's
no one to leave.
Yeah, no one to leave. That's one part. That's one of our.
But then the game turns into one person gets a good roll, person bounces out of Tokyo. Like, it just rotates through Tokyo.
That's the game.
And then whoever is unlucky, or you roll on your third re-roll, you roll a claw, you go into Tokyo with 2 health, and then you get smoked your next turn.
somebody is in Tokyo. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like they take one.
You
damage
roll one claw, they take a damage, they yield. You're in there with 2 health. Now you're screwed. Like
Then
there's so much randomness. Like I'm not saying I hate the game. Like I can play the game and have fun. I just have to accept the fact when I go into that game that
that's something you take knowledge to knowing on that second roll. You're like, I don't have the best, but I could. If I roll again, I might do damage and make them leave. So then you're like, I don't have the best roll, but strategy dictates that I should.
No, I really wish Ant was on this episode because Ant would absolutely
Ant
be with
just
me
hates
right now.
dice as long as it isn't Blood Bowl.
Because Blood Bowl is one of the ones where you can really mitigate and play around the dice. You know, I was going to bring Blood Bowl up for Jeff, but
strategy and dice. You can take some risks if you need to, but you can absolutely mitigate to where you have advantage.
Yeah, of course,
based on your team and skills that you've put in certain places. Some of my favorite games are the Epic Scale, Twilight Imperium, Star Wars Rebellion, all with dice-based combat.
Yes.
Which can totally fuck you.
They can.
Like when you run Rebellion against me, I stripped away 3 dice and you still got the rolls you needed.
I did.
I tried as hard, and Rebellion's one of my favorites. There's tons of skill in that game, but combat can get a little rough. When it comes to that, because it's you throw it into the dice and then like, well, I hope I win. Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, well, going back to Twilight Imperium though, talking about being able to mitigate that. Don't go one-on-one with ships.
Yeah.
Go. Sometimes you'll have a huge overwhelming force, and their one fighter will roll a shit ton of high rolls. Roll low, and he'll kill a bunch of ships. But then that makes for the cool story of the Luke Skywalker little fighter taking down your freaking big ships. And that fits the theme and makes for a fun little story. It works in that game's context. It's frustrating. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll get frustrated.
No, I mean, randomness, yes. I've never said that randomness can't get frustrating. That just doesn't mean there's not a place for it in games.
Yeah, and by the same token, I never said there wasn't a place for it. Like, I agree with you that a little bit of randomness is good so that everybody has a chance to win. It's not always just who is flat out best. But I like randomness to be... A, you can heavily mitigate it, and B, just enough to where it's not going to let somebody who plays bad win over people who play well. People who play well should be the ones who are going to. If only one person plays good, they should be the one to win. That's how I feel.
Some of my favorite games have a little bit of both. Heavy strategy games with a little bit of dice rolling in there.
Yeah, I feel like most games actually have at least some amount of both. There's different kinds of randomness. There's dice roll randomness, which is what we kind of focused on. But there's random decks. I love Sky. You're drawing tiles randomly out of a bag. You can have good draws and bad draws out of a bag.
Roll for the Galaxy.
Roll for the Galaxy. Roll for the Galaxy is a really good one, though, where you can mitigate it because there's a lot of ways to change once you roll them, you can manipulate those dice a lot to kind of fit what you want to have happen.
So it's just not like... Well, I'm fucked this entire
Exactly.
turn.
So
it's the hallmark of a good game.
Yep.
Truly.
So I'm pretty sure we more or less have the same opinion. We're just focusing on different things.
Exactly. Well, no, we come at it from 2 slightly different perspectives. We meet in the middle.
No,
it's compromise.
Basically, I view it as like if it's the 75% strategy and 25% skill or 25% luck. You're focused more on the 75% strategy. Like, so say it was 50-50. And we moved it from 50% strategy, 50% luck to 75% strategy, 25% luck. You're focused on that moving of the strategy to cover as much luck.
Yes.
Whereas I am just like, as long as there's still luck there, that's what's important. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't mind, like really it boils down to me luck as long as whoever it plays well should still win. I don't want a bad player to win.
You don't want a game to be balanced on a die roll.
Yes. Yeah, that's a pretty fair way of putting it. So
I'm just having flashbacks of that last combat rebellion. Just like, fuck.
I thought you were having flashbacks to Twilight Struggle.
No.
That was a bunch of die rolls. That was
a bunch. That was over a period of time. This one was just like, well, here's win or lose.
My favorite thing about Twilight Struggle is it wasn't like you just always threw ones, because anytime you needed to throw a 1, you threw a 6.
Yeah.
Like you threw the exact opposite of what you needed. If you needed high, you threw low. If you needed low, you threw high.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm fine if the balance of a game lies in a die roll as long as the game isn't roll a die, you win or you lose.
You can play war.
What's the difference?
As in, no, you had an entire game and then you guys got so close that it just came down to one die roll. That's I'm fine, because then that'll be tense, and it's just like, I was so close. But what I mean is, all right, Adrian, we're going to play a game. I'm going to roll a die. If I get a 1, 2, or 3, I win.
Okay. Well, so I'm fine with your first scenario. That the game can be balanced on the die roll if it means that both those players played excellently.
Yeah.
And they would be essentially tied. And that's the tiebreaker. That's fine. You know, it's frustrating to lose in that scenario because you feel like you played well and you lost on a die roll. But
I was depressed.
but I don't, but that's assuming that the person who wins the die roll and then wins the game played at least comparably well.
Well, I know. I'm just saying that randomness is still fine.
Yes.
Once again, that's at 75% to 25%.
Sure is.
So,
If you don't want luck, play chess.
yeah. And it's a boring game, but
It's a boring game for babies.
yes, only babies can play chess. Yes.
Oh my god. I really hope that like MHGG Hater is like a chess lover
for me,
so that he tears you guys a new one, because I actually like chess and play chess.
I like chess. I don't like chess, but that's because I favor tactics over strategy.
See, there's another discussion for another day, because we're on the opposite side of that fence too. Jeff is the happy medium between me and Zach,
I think,
glaring at each other across the table.
Part of that comes from the randomness, because if there's a randomness, then you can have a giant long strategy. But if there's randomness, then it's like, I can focus on these a couple things, and that's where the more tactic stuff comes.
Because your luck can turn and totally
exactly, and you do the best with what you're dealt versus do with what you will. That's bullshit. Okay,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, so there you have it. I think we've chit-chatted a fair amount about randomness versus skill and luck versus control and all that nonsense. You have a fair idea of where we all stand. Relatively in the same realm, just on slightly different edges.
Focusing on different things.
Yep. But so thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. In case you guys missed it, we do currently have a competition running for a board game giveaway. We're giving away a copy of Codenames Pictures.
With a fight to the death, like all competitions.
It's going to be one die roll that's going to determine the winner. and unfortunately, it's going to be D6. So if we get more than 6 entries, sorry, guys.
You're just going to have to keep rolling off.
No, but we have a few entries already.
We do.
So get your entries in if you want to have a chance to win this game. We are going to officially close entries
2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time
on
Monday.
Next Monday.
Yes.
Monday the 17th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So get in your entries. If you want to know how to enter, you should go listen to our last episode, episode 14, where we talk about Scythe and board game components.
Yes.
It's a good episode. I actually really like that episode. I think we did a good job.
All the other ones are garbage. That one's good, though.
Jeff is lying. Otherwise, if you want to get a hold of us or tell us what we've talked about wrong or
Mostly
whatever, we have all kinds of social media and ways to get in touch with us. You can tweet us at MHGameGuys. Jeff is
Jeff_MHGG.
You can email us. Emails at milehighgameguys.com. We all also have individual emails if you wanted to yell at one of us individually. And those are just our names, Adrian, Zach, Jeff, at milehighgameguys.com. We're on Instagram at milehighgameguys. And we are on facebook.com/milehighgameguys. We will have a Board Game Geek Guild up soon. By next episode, we'll have a Board Game Geek Guild up. And you can chat with us there too. So.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, no, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Start taking those pictures, Adrian.
I need 2 more.
Yeah, well.
I actually have them submitted. I just need them approved.
Oh, okay.
So, but anyway, thanks for listening. Be sure to get in touch with us. We appreciate hearing from you guys. It's good to get a little bit of feedback. Know that people actually appreciate what we do here. So otherwise, tune in next week for another in-depth review and discussion topic. And yeah, give us a listen. Enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that nonsense that we like to mention.
Nonsense.
Nonsense.
Bolded on that one, by the way.
Yeah. But All right. As always, I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Comrade Jeff.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
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 You and your friends are new TV network executives competing for viewers during primetime slots. God damn it, Adrian. All right, let me do that. I want to take that over again. All right? Okay. Just don't shoot yourself in the head when I'm trying to.
I'll